In the heart of Abuja, where the streets bustled with life, there lived a girl named Ella. She was an orphan, raised in an overcrowded home where kindness was scarce. Though she had a roof over her head, she often felt invisible, like a shadow drifting through life. Every day was the same. Wake up, do chores, and stare out of the window, watching others laugh, dream, and live. But something changed when she got admission into the university. It was as though life had finally given her a gift, a chance to escape the dull, colorless world she had always known. She was excited, not just for the education but for the freedom it promised. At school, Ella made friends, Tina and Juliet. They were lively, always talking about weekend trips, boys, and fun. Ella admired them but felt like an outsider, as if she wasn't interesting enough to fit in. One day, as Valentine's weekend approached, her friends were bubbling with excitement about traveling home for the celebration. They invited Ella, but she had nowhere to go. "Why don't you come with us?" Tina asked. "I don't have money for transport," Ella mumbled. Tina waved her off. "You can just stay back in school then, alone." That word, alone, hit Ella hard. She had been alone all her life, and now, with her new friends gone, she would be lonely again. She swallowed her sadness and forced a smile. "I'll be fine." That night, while scrolling through social media, she got a message from Daniel. He was a handsome older guy who had been chatting with her for weeks. He always sent sweet messages, calling her beautiful and special, words she had never heard before. When she told him about her lonely weekend, he said, "Come see me. I promise you'll have fun." Ella hesitated. She had never done anything like that before. But then a voice in her head whispered, "What's the worst that could happen?" The next day, she boarded a taxi and traveled across the city to meet him. His house was in a rich estate, and when she arrived, everything about him seemed perfect. His deep voice, charming smile, and the way he looked at her like she was the most beautiful girl in the world. At first, it was fun. They watched movies, laughed, and ate. But as the night deepened, Daniel became different. His hands lingered too long. His voice grew heavier, and soon one thing led to another. The next morning, a loud scream jolted Ella from her sleep. It was Daniel, staring at her with wide, horrified eyes. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice groggy. He pointed at her face. "Your face? What happened to your face?" Confused, Ella rushed to the bathroom mirror. Her reflection made her gasp in terror. Overnight, her once smooth skin had been taken over by thick, raised keloids, spreading across her face like a cruel curse. She touched her cheeks, trembling. Her heart pounded in her chest. "No, no, no," she whispered. Ella turned to Daniel for help, but his face was already twisted in disgust. "Get out," he shouted. Tears blurred her vision as she stumbled out of the house. The sun was shining brightly, but inside she felt like darkness had swallowed her whole. Ella ran to the streets of Abuja, her heart pounding in her chest. The stares from passers-by burned into her skin, their whispers slicing through her like a knife. What happened to her face? Did she get burned? "She looks cursed!" Tears streamed down her cheeks, but she kept running, trying to escape the nightmare her life had become. When she reached her hostel, she locked herself inside, hoping that sleep would erase everything. But the next morning, the keloids were still there, thick and ugly. Desperate, she rushed to the hospital. The doctor examined her face, his expression unreadable. "We don't understand this," he finally said. "This isn't a typical skin reaction. It's almost as if..." "As if what?" Ella asked, her voice shaking. The doctor hesitated. "As if this wasn't caused by any medical condition." Ella felt her knees weaken. "Please help me. Give me something, anything," she pleaded. He sighed. We'll try some treatments, but I can't guarantee anything. Days turned into weeks. Nothing worked. Every cream, every injection, every prayer. Nothing changed. The keloids remained, a permanent mark of her shame. Then, as if fate had not punished her enough, Ella started feeling sick. She threw up every morning, felt dizzy, and soon, the test confirmed it, she was pregnant. Ella collapsed onto the cold hospital floor, her body shaking with sobs. She had no family, no support, and now she was carrying the child of a man who had thrown her out like garbage. She tried calling Daniel. His number was blocked. He had erased her, just like that. Life became unbearable. The whispers at school turned into outright bullying. No one wanted to sit next to her in class. Even her lecturers avoided looking at her. One evening, after a particularly bad day, she sat on her small mat, staring at her sleeping son. "God, why did you let this happen to me?" she whispered. "Why am I suffering like this?" That night, something strange happened. A bright light filled her tiny room, and a voice echoed through her mind.